What if you could retire without needing millions in the bank? Not by selling everything, not by hoping the market is up, but by building income that pays you every single month. Enough to cover your life, your bills, your freedom. Because retirement isn't really about having a huge pile of money. It's about replacing your income. That's the part most people miss. They focus on a number instead of a system that generates cash flow every month, every year, for the rest of your life. That's where SCHD comes in, the Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. This isn't about chasing the next big thing. It's about building something that lasts. SCHD invests in high-quality companies, companies with strong balance sheets, consistent earnings, and a history of paying dividends. That last part is key, because dividends are what turn investments into income. Now, let's make this real. Let's say your monthly expenses are $3,000. Housing, food, transportation, everything. That's $36,000 per year. So the question becomes, how do you build an investment portfolio that produces $36,000 per year? This is where the blueprint begins. SCHD has historically yielded around 3%. So to generate $36,000 annually, you'd need about $1.2 million invested. Now pause. Don't let that number scare you. Because just like we talked about before, you don't start there. You build there, step by step. And more importantly, you can start benefiting long before you reach that number. Because partial income still matters. If your investments cover 25% of your expenses, that's less pressure. 50%, that's freedom. 75%, that's optional work. 100%, that's full independence. So this isn't all or nothing. It's a progression, a journey. Now let's talk about how you actually get there. Because this is where most people feel stuck. They think they need a high income. They think they need perfect timing. They think they need to figure everything out first. You don't. What you need is a repeatable system. Something simple enough to follow, but powerful enough to work. Here's that system. You invest consistently. Every week. Every month. No matter what the market is doing. You treat investing like a bill. Non-negotiable. Second, you reinvest your dividends. This is where most people slow themselves down. They take the income too early, instead of letting it grow. But if you reinvest, you accelerate everything. Your shares grow faster. Your income grows faster. Your timeline shortens. And third, you stay patient. Because this is not a quick process, but it is a reliable one. Now let's go deeper. Because this is where the blueprint becomes powerful. Your income doesn't just come from your contributions. It comes from three sources: your money, your dividends, and time. Those three working together create something most people never experience: real financial momentum. At first, you're doing most of the work. You're contributing. You're building. But over time, your investments take over. Your dividends start to matter. Your growth starts to accelerate. And eventually, your system becomes self-sustaining. That's the turning point, and that's when things start to feel different. Now let's talk about the emotional side. Because this journey is not just numbers, it's mindset. There will be moments where it feels slow, where it feels like nothing is happening, where you question if it's even working. That's normal, because progress in the beginning is invisible. But that doesn't mean it's not happening. Think about someone going to the gym. Day 1, no results. Week 1, still nothing noticeable, but they keep going. And months later, everything changes. That's exactly how this works. Consistency creates results, even when you can't see them yet. Now let's talk about market drops. Because they will happen. Prices will fall, headlines will turn negative, and most people will panic. But this is actually where opportunity lives. Because when prices drop, your money buys more shares. More shares means more dividends. More dividends means faster growth. So instead of fearing downturns, you learn to use them. That's the mindset shift. Now let's paint the future. You've been consistent, you've stayed disciplined, you've followed the system. Years have passed. Your portfolio has grown. Your dividends have increased. Now your investments are paying you every single month. Not perfectly, not instantly, but consistently. You check your account, and instead of seeing only your paycheck, you see income from your investments. That's a different feeling. That's control. That's security. That's freedom. And the best part? You didn't rely on luck. You didn't gamble. You built it, step by step. Now here's something powerful. You don't have to fully retire to benefit from this. You can scale it. Use it to reduce work. Use it to create options. Use it to design your life differently. Because financial freedom isn't just about quitting your job. It's about having the choice. And that's what income gives you. Choice. Now let's make this even more practical. If $1.2 million feels far away, break it down. Focus on the first $10,000, then $25,000, then $50,000. Each level brings more income, more confidence, more momentum. You don't climb a mountain in one step. You climb it one move at a time. Same thing here. Now let's talk about discipline. Because this is where everything is decided. Not in the big moments, but in the small ones. Choosing to invest when you don't feel like it. Choosing to stay consistent when it feels slow. Choosing to trust the process when others are chasing something else. That's what builds results. Not perfection. Consistency. Now imagine your future self. Looking back at the moment you started. Grateful you didn't wait. Grateful you stayed consistent. Grateful you built something real. Because most people never start. And that's the biggest mistake of all. If you want to retire on SCHD, now you have the blueprint. Build income. Stay consistent. Reinvest. Be patient. And let time do what it does best. Compound. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to Simple Money Compounds. Because here, we don't chase money. We build income. And we let that income compound.